Today I'm showing you how to fix the keyless controller panel with part number 6676890 for the Bobcat compact excavators. And the issue we're experiencing is that it's completely dead. The customer said that he wasn't getting any power from it. And as you can see from the power supply, we're drawing 0 amps. So let's open it up and see what's going on inside. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Nick. I started Nick's Electronics Repair over a decade ago. And since then we have fixed over 100 of these Bobcat controller panels. When it comes to the completely dead no power faults, there is a section of the circuit board inside that does commonly fail. So we're going to take a look at those components first. Starting at the top right corner of our processor chip and moving over to the right, we have 2 resistor arrays over here. So we're going to want to check them for proper resistance. We want to see 22 ohms on each one of these. And the first one was good, but the second one seems to be open. Let's check out the third. 22 ohms, 22 ohms. Let's go back here. So I'm going to measure from here to here, and that's open. Yeah, so this resistor bank right here, that second one, that's open. Now that is very common for this version of the controller with the resistor arrays to have that specific resistor fail. So let's go ahead and replace it and then we'll retest. We're gonna scratch a little bit of the silicone away with our metal brush. This will make it a little bit easier for our soldering. And to desolder it, what we're gonna do is flood both sides with solder. If you have a defective keyless controller panel that you would like to send in for us to fix, we do offer flat rate services which come with a 1-year warranty. Those are available on our website, which I'll have linked in the video description down below. All of our repairs do come with a 1-year warranty with options for extended 2 and 5 years. Give the area a quick clean. Now for the replacement, I did switch tips to a smaller one. I am adding solder to just one pad on the corner. And while I melt that pad, I'm gonna slide in the replacement resistor bank array until it is locked in, which it is. We'll add a little bit of solder to another pad, rotate it, and we're gonna lock in the other side now. I didn't add any flux, but we'll do that now. And the flux will help us get better flow. And I have a little bridge, we'll fix that in a second. And you know what? My new solder tip is actually a little too small, and that's part of the reason I'm having a harder time getting good flow. But now that all the pads are coated, we're gonna switch back to the larger tip, and I should now have a lot more heat transfer and better flow. So I was able to get rid of those bridges quite easily with the larger tip. Okay, we'll do a quick cleanup. Okay, and that's the final product for that resistor installation. It looks pretty good. All right, we're plugging our unit back in. Let's power up the power supply. Hey, I just heard it. And we're drawing 0.25 amps now. Our lights are on. Okay, so we now have power. However, it does look like we still have some issues. I have nothing on the display, and of course my buttons aren't working. So let's look at fixing the display issue next. Now, typically for a display issue, there's also a very specific chip that's in charge of it and that has surrounding resistors that also fail. That's gonna be this one over here and the resistors to the right of it. Again, let's switch back to the microscope. So again, we are in resistance modes. We're checking for ohms, and I'm getting 13 million ohms, and this is a 1002, so it should be 10 kilo ohms, so 10,000 ohms. So that first one has failed. Second one's good. We're getting 9.98K. Third one is bad, also showing mega ohms. This next one is 821, which I believe is supposed to be 820, and I'm getting 0.73 kilo ohms, so 730. So that's actually going to be okay. 1002, so 10 kilo ohms. This one's also showing mega ohms. This one should be 68 ohms, and I'm getting 1,200 ohms, so that one has also failed. And finally 5112, which is supposed to be about 51 kilo ohms, and that's exactly what I'm getting. So for this section specifically, we only saw 3 or 4 of the resistors failed, but we're gonna go ahead and replace all of them because every single one of those resistors we have seen fail in the past, so as a preventative measure, it's best to just replace all of them. Same technique, we're going to start by removing some of the silicone, and next we're going to again add solder to all sides of every resistor. And same technique, essentially melting both sides at the same time until the resistor comes free. Next, we're going to prep our pads on one side. And we're going to start by prepping only the 10 kilo ohm, so 10,000 ohm resistors. Next, we'll do the 820 ohm resistor, then the 68, and finally the 51 kilo ohm. We'll flip the boat around and solder down the other side. We'll do a quick second pass with a little bit of flux, make sure we have really good flow everywhere. And of course, we'll clean up all that excess flux. So we had a little bit of a bridge. It was hard to tell, but we do have it cleaned up now. Okay, so now we have our screen. Let's see, are the buttons working? They are. And a lot of my sensors are not actually plugged in, which is why we're seeing a lot of codes. So for the purposes of this video, we have shown you how to fix the completely dead no power fault. We also did give a little bonus of the no display fault repair. There are more issues with it. We're gonna do those off screen and we'll do different videos to fix all of those other issues in the future. But for now, we're gonna call this a successful repair for the no power and no display fault. If you found the video helpful or useful, leave us a like, subscribe for more content, and thank you for watching.